What's up, John?
Not much, man.
Schiezer.
Yes, sir. Nigel, how you doing, man?
Very well, very well. How was your drive coming out to the desert?
We left at the right time. You know, it's a Sunday, so you just got to wait till 6 so everyone gets home from their little beach excursions and all that kind of stuff. But no, nice and smooth. We almost had enough time to stop off at the, was it Pachanga Casino?
Yeah.
On the way out? Is that the one?
That's
Morongo.
Morongo.
Oh, no, Morongo.
Yeah.
How could I
Pachanga
forget?
is down towards Temecula.
Yep, that's right. How could I
hill.
forget that amazing comedy venue?
Have you been there?
I have.
Who have you seen?
Just I'm performing. Just, yeah.
What's that room like?
It's casinos are weird because you get half the people just lost $500, so you're screwed on that element. They're from all over the country, so it really, like, as a comic, kind of keeps you sharp. You can't anything that you're like, oh, this is my guaranteed touchdown joke. That one's gonna bomb. You know, you just you're on your toes a little bit more.
Well, it's nice that you know that's going to happen instead of, there's 1,000 people here and they're going to love it. It's good to know that, it doesn't always land. And that doesn't mean that you're not funny. It just means that, like you said, they lost the deed to the house.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's like, you can never take it personally, especially, it's like you do jokes multiple times and then if you look out and no one's laughing, you're like, I don't know what your dad did to you. But that's not my fault. You got to work on your issues because that's a funny fucking joke.
Yeah.
We'll drop F-bombs, not that many, but okay.
Don't passive aggressive crowd.
Comics don't need to take that personally, especially if you know what you can do.
Where else have you performed anywhere near Palm Springs, Palm Desert?
I did a show at 29 Palms.
The base?
Years ago, yes. And it's the only time I had a Marine. That's either way. Whatever branch of the military, he came up on stage hammered, and the key is you don't give up the microphone. So he's like trying to grab it. I wouldn't let go of it. He's like, I got a joke. We're like, all right, let's hear it.
What do you mean that's the key?
Once you give up the microphone, you're
it's done. It's done.
Yeah. So you hold on to that thing with two hands if someone's like coming up, and it's a Marine. I'm not trying to and it's a bar show, so it's not like there's not really security stepping in.
Were you hosting?
No, I wasn't actually. And it was a weird, my girlfriend at the time was a musician, so she had just done I'm in a shitty relationship, piano, singer-songwriter stuff, and then I go up with jokes, and it was like it was going fine until this drunk guy comes up, and he insisted on telling this joke, which I'll never forget. There was this famous celebrity woman, she murdered her husband. It was Reese something, with a knife. And then he's like, no, with a spoon, Reese Witherspoon. And then I was like, okay, give it up for the drunk Marine guys. Good luck over in Afghanistan. If anyone gets picked off, hopefully it's that guy. What
was the crowd like? Was it Marines?
Yeah, pretty much. But it was, the read I got was, oh, it's Daryl. That's just Daryl being Daryl. Everyone was really comfortable with the way he was acting, which made me realize, just shut up. Just do 10 more minutes and get in the car, get your money and go home. You know?
Wow.
Sometimes that's the best, route.
Does it seem like it's ever going to get violent? With heckling, I mean, does that happen up there? I can only imagine.
Not.
Or do they appreciate it?
It's tough. I've seen it get violent before, with personal insults and things like that, racial things, stuff like that. For me personally, I started in Kansas City. Okay. There's this club called Stanford & Sons, and any comic that started mid-2000s and on probably worked there, and it was run by these two brothers that were drug addicts, pussy addicts, fast car addicts, and just didn't give a shit about anything but that.
Living fast.
Yes, very fast. And they both actually they both are resting eternally now.
Wow.
Passed away a year apart from each other. But they never had security. And one time, I begged for 5 fucking minutes for security to come up. No one's anywhere. I don't know if they're storing coke or what. Yeah. No one's around. So finally, to solve it, I took the little drink tray tea thing, and I spiked it off their table.
Shit.
And then that solved the problem. And then the rest of the audience was on my side because they were ruining the show for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's and I'm not proud of that moment, but I kind of lost my shit in public.
Well, sometimes you need to, you need to do some things like that, because they only, maybe they just will react to, someone that's, coming at them from that level too, instead of being like, excuse me, sir, can you,
That's the thing. Like, it gets to the point where you're
used
like,
to drill sergeants and people just, I mean, nothing against the military. I think it's one of the most, respectable things. I mean, I would never do that, but again, you never know. It takes a lot of guts, but with comedy, you got to respect the show.
That's in this particular incident in Kansas City, I don't think he was a military guy, but it gets to the point as a human, I'm like, dude, you're disrespecting everything that's going on that I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah, I throw people out all the time for shows because they just don't shut up.
You go up, you go, hey, just keep it down, be quiet.
And people take it personal. I tell this to everybody. It's not just you. And they're like, they just take it. A lot of people that aren't familiar with the comedy etiquette, they take it very personal. Like it's just them. Like it's not you. This is very general, but I can hear you across the room. You need to respect my show, respect my comics. And there's been one point where there's this girl in the audience, must have been hammered, and I had my security come and kick her out. And she says, I'm not walking out of here unless you carry me out. Big old 300-pound guy picks her up. She has 2 brand new Modelo's, pours them on his head while they're walking out the door of this venue that we're backstage right now at the Hood Bar. And the whole crowd was like, yeah. So it kind of... The heckling turned into it helped, I guess.
Oh,
but it doesn't always help.
The instance I gave you, that was like the one time. Usually, here's how it plays out. They're ruining the show and have been the whole time. So all you have to do as an entertainer is just point that out and say, hey, are you ruining the show for everyone else? Everyone else will go, yeah, shut up in the front. So now you're just kind of like the conductor of the negative energy from the rest of the audience, and you don't look quite as bad. You just kind of orchestrated the whole thing, I
mean, I guess it can give or take from the show, but mostly take, I'm sure, unless it's a special, thing like what I was saying with the beer and all that, which was, I mean, it's a shame, but, that's just, sometimes you got to bounce people.
It's what blows my mind is so many people have never been to a comedy show before, and which to me, I'm like, never? You ever just walked into one or like just came into the bar at the right night to see a show? But I think that's actually part of the problem is just that people just don't know. They're like, oh, it's like a movie, but you can talk. It's like, no, just treat it like a movie and laugh when when you need
I have to explain to these people, you're throwing them off rhythm. And I mean, some people go up there and ad-lib or do their thing, but at the end of the day, you're not preparing yourself for someone in the audience saying, ha, or whatever, or my mom this, it's like, I got a hat too, or something, just like pointless crap, dude, keep it to yourself, there's a bar there.
See, most of the time, I have bad hearing anyway, so which is kind of a blessing, because that way, that stuff doesn't bother me as much, but when I do hear it, 9 out of 10, just pretend you don't even hear it, and then if it keeps coming from that guy or girl or that table, get into it at some point. The problem, if you're headlining a show, the last thing you want to do, because they've already been there drinking for an hour just when you get up on stage, right? Yeah. So the last thing you really want to do is just tear into them in the first 10 minutes. Because the audience, if they don't know you already, they're like, this guy's a real dick. He just got on
especially
stage.
If it's a locally driven venue.
Yeah. Right. And then it's always the boss. Yeah. The boss is bringing everyone out for the night. So guess who the big dickhead is? The guy that cuts the checks every time. And I'll have to be like, I know you're the boss of a small business, but you're in society now. Yeah. And you're giving your business a real bad name. I got heckled by the DA in Reno one time. And I go, what do you do? He goes, I'm the DA. I go, you act like this in public? He got kicked out of the show.
What a joke.
Yeah.
I went to go see Howie Mandel at the Fantasy Springs Casino over here, and he did not enjoy the show. It was nothing but hecklers the whole time. His fly was down, and someone's like in the front row saying, Howie. He's like, what? And they're all, because you can't hear. It's not audible. He's like, oh, my fly's down. And the cameraman zoomed up on his crotch. I'm like, that's just wrong. It's wrong. Because it would be one thing if he was into it, but he was not having it. Yeah. And then at one point he's like, well, what do you guys want to talk about? And then when he got, I saw, because I was side stage, I could see he's getting a light. He took it right away. He didn't want to, he was like, I'm out of here.
Mid-sentence.
And he just looked like, as he was passing the mic off, he's just like, whatever, inaudible, but I'm around enough comedy to know he was not having a good time. All the people I was with, I was like, this is embarrassing for the desert. It was a shame, actually.
if as an entertainer, if you're not having a good time, chances are the audience isn't either.
They had like fog too, and he's like, "Why is there fog on stage?"
This is big grand
Yeah,
entrance.
but it was just kind of like, and I talked to some other techs, and they're like, "I would never put fog on a show." I'm like, for whatever reason, he's like, it was just, I've never even, I knew that he did stand up, but it was funny. It was just, it's a shame to have those people shouting out. That's my first casino show I've ever been to.
Oh yeah, and it's just completely.
And I was like, "What's going on here?"
Sabotage. America's Got Talent. Yep, that's
Yeah.
And that's. I think a lot of times people just want to go see the person in person.
Yeah.
Just they'd be like, "Oh, we saw Howie Mandel back in 2019."
They're there for the photo.
I yelled out, "I bet your mom" in high school.
He did a bunch of Bobby's World stuff. Because
wow.
he does the voice, so he's doing all these voices. It was actually kind of a cool show, but I'd say 15 minutes into it, it was already going downhill. And I doubt he'll ever return.
He was 15 minutes in. He goes, "Okay, this is just going to be a wing it show."
Yeah.
And then I never have to come back here.
But it was just kind of a shame. But I mean, it is what it is, and I'm sure at least he'll never forget it, for whatever that's worth. But let's talk about, you have an album.
Yes.
Yeah. What's that about?
It's about my comedy finally being available to the general public to
How does
view.
one cut a comedy album? You go to a studio?
It was recorded actually at the Blue Room Comedy Club in the Ozarks in Missouri, Springfield, Missouri. I grew up in Kansas City, so it's kind of, now that Stanford's in Kansas City is no longer open, I kind of consider Blue Room kind of like my home club away from home.
Like coming home?
Yeah, because it's like I have family. I usually have cousins or someone I know or related to will be, kind of in the audience. But recorded it there actually about a year and a half ago, and then finally was tinkering with it. Wasn't really sure if I wanted to release it, and really it just came down to I found out one of my good friends is an audio engineer, and he goes, "Just send it over to me. Let me take a look at it." And he mastered everything,
Cleaned it up.
Yeah, he was
compressed
like,
it. Yeah.
he was like, "Hey, it's ready to go. You just all you gotta do is submit it."
Nice.
'Cause
So
a lot
how
of the
long?
stuff-
How long is it?
It is, I believe it's 47 or 52. It was from like an hour and 5 minute set. So I trimmed out some of the crowd work banter because the audience wasn't mic'd that well.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I can't really put that in there. But it was it was nice because once it was finished and edited, I had everything labeled and named and everything. And I realized like, oh, this is great. I don't even do half these jokes anymore because that's always the big concern. It's like, oh, I got to burn this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I've actually kind of burned half of it already. But the album's called Midnight Marauders, based a little tribute to Tribe Called Quest, which is that particular album I grew up listening to just day after day in the backyard, shooting hoops, doing whatever. It was just kind of like an anthem of my adolescence.
How do the people watching this, how do they find it?
Spotify, if you go iHeart Radio, iTunes. It's weird iTunes now because no one downloads music. So
I use Spotify. That's about it.
Yeah, that's the one I use
It works
too.
great for me. I have everything I need.
if my name is a motherfucker to spell, but if you go, it's just Jon. Well, it'll be on the episode, but yeah.
Spell it out. We'll
Yes,
put a caption.
It's JONSCHIESZER. The joke I always make: if Weezer, I'm sorry, had a female cover band, would be Schiezer, and there is one.
That's actually a good name.
That was going to be my domain, but there is a Schiezer band.
like the Iron Maidens or Schiezer. Yeah.
Fuck. You girls in Toronto, drop it, okay? No one's seeing your shit. Now my website has to be johnjonishere.com because I can't have Schiezer spelled out like Weezer.
Are you always repping Kansas City?
From time to time, this is my Buck O'Neill. Buck O'Neill was the legendary Kansas City Monarchs, first black coach in Major League Baseball.
Nice.
With the Chicago Cubs in the mid-'60s, actually scouted Ernie Banks. But I'm actually I love baseball. And more of the history. I like history a lot, but as far as American sports, that one has kind of the longest history. And then Kansas City, where I grew up, is the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. And over the years, I've sparked a distant friendship with Bob Kendrick, the president and curator of the museum. And so when I go into town, I've been lucky enough to get personal tours with him through the new exhibits and stuff.
That's awesome.
But this is Buck O'Neill, who passed away about 5 years ago. But Bob Kendrick, who's the president of the museum, was his assistant for 20 years. So he kind of inherited all of his stories. And it's a really good book about their summer they spent driving around the country.
That's cool to have a place reserved for the history.
Yeah. No, I'm, as a baseball fan, the world's biggest autographed baseball collection from the Negro Leagues is there, which is owned by Geddy Lee, the lead singer of Rush.
Yeah.
For some, I was
Wow.
like, wow, this is
A Canadian,
Yeah, but I try to rep Kansas City. Well, I think what this shirt says to most people is like, there's a nice white guy, and that's I've been told I'm like taller, big. I can be intimidating, which I'm not. Like I'm not that person, so it's like a nice fake hug almost. And I eat barbecue, kind of.
Yeah. The everyday
I can
man.
get some sauce.
Yeah. I'm sure you have a man cave.
I do, man. My wife hates it. It's stuffed full of baseballs, bobbleheads, hats. I mean, way too much stuff.
So you live in LA, right?
Yep.
Where about in LA? Like what city? I know LA is like very generalized.
Technically in Torrance, which is considered like South Bay, down by like Redondo and Hermosa Beach.
So you get that. You were saying earlier you get that.
Yeah.
What do you call it when it
The
comes
marine
in?
layer.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
the clouds come in from the ocean, and I live here, and they stop here. So if you go 2 blocks that way, it's like a hot sunny day, but it's nice and cool, cloudy. At my address for some reason, but no, I like it. It's great. It's weird though because I'm only 15 minutes from Hollywood, which if you're not in Hollywood, people will be like, "Where do you live?" I'll be like, "Oh, in Torrance." They're like, "Damn, that's kind of far away." I'm like, "It's 15 miles."
You live in Egypt, yeah.
It's like not that far. Like, come on,
Yeah. So you go to the store a lot? Because I know I met you there. At the,
I
the
do
store,
actually.
Yeah.
I years ago I worked there as a lock guy and a door guy.
What's the lock guy? What does that mean?
That's parking cars. And this was before the reverse camera. But granted, everyone was poor as shit, so I'm moving like Nissan Maximas and stuff.
Yeah.
Versus now it's like all Teslas and everything.
Speaking of Teslas, I talked to one door guy, and he says whenever Rogan pulls up, he tips everybody $100.
Dude,
like, that's awesome.
He did that 15 years ago, when he was getting all the big bucks from Fear Factor, right?
Yeah.
He had some remodel car that was on some show. It's like a Barracuda.
I know he was on Jay Lona's Garage. He had this like Corvette thing. He might have had something else, but he's a big car guy.
I think that was but he brought it in and he was like, "Here's $100.
Yeah.
No one touches my car." We're like, "Cool."
Yeah.
But he was not the only guy, but those few people that would come in, like, here's 20 here, here's 5. Like, that shit added up big time,
I'm sure.
Way back 2004. $100 went a lot further than it did, nowadays.
But that's just a nice gesture.
No, for sure. Absolutely. But a great experience working there, like lifelong friends. Like when I was first doing open mics, it would be guys like Davey Wester, like Tony Hinchcliffe, Matt Edgar, just a ton of talent.
What was Tony doing at the time?
Just talking shit. Same.
Was this before his Kill Tony show?
Oh, this was in 2006, 2007. 11, 12 years ago. Yeah.
When did he start at the store?
I want to say right around 2007 or 8 maybe is when he started working there. I think I started working there. I worked there from like 07, 08 until 11 for like 3 or 4 years right in there. But no, Tony's always been the same, just talking shit. He's like, "This is what I do. If you don't like it, fuck you."
I think he does a really great job with the Kill Tony show and the whole. It's kind of an open mic, but it's not. It's like really entertaining. You got Joel, you got all those dudes, Jeremiah, and they're every time they have a different character, repeat characters, but it's genius.
No,
I think it's awesome. And now that they're traveling, they're saying they're going to Australia, they're doing other gigs, and that's awesome. And
it's great too if you're just
live.
If you're a comic coming up, it's like it's a little bit of exposure for you. It's got a wide listening audience.
It's kind of up to you to use the time wisely.
And it really was the first.
Minute you get a minute,
dude.
Yeah.
No one was in the main room at the Comedy Store Monday nights. Not a soul. Like the lights were off, and now he's selling that out, and has been for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's no, it's great. He and Red Band, and they've been friends since way back when.
Yeah.
But it's something no one saw coming. Just like the roast battle, that was just Moses up in the belly room. Just, hey, we'll come back next week. You guys, we'll make jokes at each other.
Yeah.
8 years later, it's a third 2 or 3 seasons at Comedy Central, and you just never know.
It's awesome, and like Jeff Ross and all these guys are taking notice of these up and coming dudes like Jeremiah it's so sick. But I'm a big fan. I'm very loyal to the store, and that's usually where I go. That's where I met Davey. That's where I met all my guys. And
it's
and,
pound for pound.
And that's
like
where I
the
go.
best.
I go there. I go there Mondays. I go there whenever I can. But that's the only really club. Nothing against any other club, but that's the one spot where it's like Cheers. Everybody knows your name.
Well, okay,
you know?
and like you said, nothing against the other clubs, but like when they leave the other clubs, they go to the Comedy Store. You know, so it's like you just wait there, and everyone shows up there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you don't even have to go to
it's
the
like
other
the bus
club.
stop or something. Yeah. Well, we're gonna wrap up this interview only because we got a show. Actually, about 20 feet through that door,
we go.
We got comedians on stage. But thank you very much, John.
Nigel, thanks for having me.
Want to give us your Instagram or something because people are gonna be watching this.
Yeah, at John Jon is here comedy. At John Jon is here comedy. Hashtag Jon is here. Last name Schiezer is a motherfucker, so just work with me. That's all I'm asking.
The female Weezer. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Nigel. Hell yeah.
Right on.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you.